興味深いわね。
なんだって？
聞こえなかった？興味深いと言ったの？
まさか行きたいとか言い出すんじゃないだろうな。
ぜひお願い。
話すべきじゃなかったな。
I was standing in the middle of Ikebukuro with a smartphone in one hand, staring up at the sky. I'd been trying to talk to the Amadeus, Kursu, as much as possible lately. Sometimes I would contact her, and sometimes Kursu would contact me. It didn't feel any different than having a friend who lived in the real world. Talking on a smartphone in a crowded place like this was a little embarrassing, but I told myself that compared to the things I used to do, it was nothing. I'd chosen harmless topics for our discussion, but it still reminded me so much of talking to the old Kursu that I sometimes forgot myself. I'd done that just now, when I accidentally told her about the lab. She had seized on it.
あんたが今話したそのラボ、オリジナルの私は行ったことが？
ああ、いや。
はっきりしないわね。どっち？
ないよ。
Oh, Sunshine City Street. Oh my god. That's one thing I recognize from Durarara. That's one thing I recognize from Ikebukuro from Durarara. Kursu had been part of the lab in Alpha World 9. In this World 9, she died before ever becoming a lab member. Of course, she'd never even known where it was.
お前は勘違いしているようだから言っておく。ラボと言ってもラボじゃない。ただのお遊びサークルだ。それに
Suzuha was living there right now, and Daru spent a lot of time there. If they found out about Kursu, things could get complicated.
言いかけてやめないでほしいわけだが。
なんでもない。
いずれにせよ、外の世界をいろいろ見て回ってみたい。今までは先輩や教授と話す時も研究室の中ばかりだったから。
だからこうして日曜の朝っぱらから池袋を案内してやっているだろう。
10 a.m. Even at this hour, the area in front of Ikebukuro Station was crowded. It was going to get even more crowded as it got closer to noon.
なんなら乙女ロードまで連れて行く覚悟はしていたんだけどな。
何よそれ？
お前の知らない世界が広がっている場所だな。
待って、今調べた。
本当に興味が湧いたか？
そんなわけあるか。とにかく今日はあんたのラボに連れて行ってよ。
Even the Amadeus is slightly tsundere.
私に話して聞かせた以上、責任を取りなさい。よろしくね。
And then she hung up. It was like I was her own personal taxi service. Kursu couldn't move around on her own, so there was no getting around that. But
まったくわがままなやつめ。
she didn't seem to think very highly of me. At this rate, she might start treating me worse than a servant. The real Kursu was one thing. Or, no, maybe it wasn't. But being treated that way by the artificial Kursu was incredibly humiliating. Wouldn't it be a humiliation for all of humanity?
これはなんとかすべきかもしれん。
as I mumbled to myself.
あれオカリ
Mayuri called out to me. She was carrying a lot of bags. It was probably materials for one of her costumes.
ねえねえ今誰かと話してなかった？
今のは大学のゼミの友達だ。
そっか今日も遊びに行くの？
いや、今日は別に予定はない。まゆりはこれからバイトか？
ラボでユキさんと待ち合わせ。
ラボ。
Was this good timing or bad timing?
そうだオカリンも久しぶりに一緒にユキさんの手料理も食べられるよ。それとねマユシーも頑張って作る予定なのです。どうかな？
And that's how he went to the lab. In the end, I went with her.
えへへ。
ずいぶん嬉しそうだな。
嬉しいよ。
Mayuri had been smiling the whole time. But I was the opposite. The minute I got here, I was so nervous. I felt like I was about to throw up. I didn't really want to see Suzuha.
あ？おう、岡部じゃねえか。
お。
The door to the broad tube workshop on the first floor opened, and out came the building's owner, Yugo Tenoji. What is the broad tube workshop? Broad tube workshop, fictional, a CRT TV shop located on the first floor of the multi-purpose. I'm gonna repeat what I just said. Oh my god. Fictional. CRT TV. That's an abbreviation that's kind of hard to say. Shop located on the first floor of the multi-purpose Ubiyama building in Suehiro-cho. At the very back of the store is a very rare 42-inch CRT TV. Wait, is that inch or 42 centimeters? I think it's centimeters, not inches. It's a very rare 42 centimeter CRT TV, not a 42 inch. Yugo Tenoji, the owner of the store, also owns the building. It only gets a few customers a day, but strangely enough, it's been one of the few stores that survived over the years in the constantly changing landscape of Akihabara. I don't know what I was gonna pronounce Akihabara like. Alright, back to the game.
店長さん、てってる
おう。
うわー T シャツ1枚で寒くないですか？
鍛えてるからな。
And my muscles keep me warm. When I'd been living in the lab, I'd given him the nickname Mr. Braun. It'd been a long time since I had seen him.
岡部、その様子じゃちゃんと大学生やってるみたいじゃねえか。
どうも。そういえば家賃ってどうしてるんだっけ？
I asked Mayuri instead of him. I used to give it directly to Tenoji, but...
橋田がちゃんと振り込んでくれてるから安心しな。
そうですか。
おう。
This man... Was he a rounder in this world line too? Who messaged me? Who? being strange. I forgot I did that. Who messaged me? Maho Hyajo. How did things go with Kursu after that? No problems. Can we do something about her mouth? I want to talk to Maho too. No problem. I really wanted to message. Can we do something about her mouth? Kursu? She can be really nasty. She's what you call a tsundere. A tsundere? I don't know what that is, but are you sure that you didn't just tick her off? Kursu does not suffer fools gladly. Hee 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 hee. Oh man, I really just wanted to, poke some buttons poke buttons while playing this game for the first time around. And that was definitely a button that I wanted to poke. There was no way I could ask him about being around her, right? Yeah. I couldn't help but be wary of him. That's why I started to put some distance between us. If nothing else, I'd avoided trying to interact with him.
じゃあね、あんま暴れんなよ。
Tenoji saw that I'd gone silent and went back inside. Mary looked over at me with a worried expression.
大丈夫？やっぱり帰る？
行こう。
Tenoji didn't matter. What mattered was, why was I here? Did I feel like something needed to change? Or did I really want to show Kursu to the lab? I went up the stairs, still unsure of the answer. Mary went in first.
ごめんね、ゆきさん。ちょっと遅れちゃった。なゆりちゃん、こんにちは。
I peeked inside the room. Daru and Yuki were there. Their eyes went wide when they saw me.
岡部さんも一緒だったんですね。
おかりん、久しぶりじゃん。
わあ、久しぶり。
I quickly scanned the room. There was no sign of Suzuha. Part of me was a little relieved.
入っても。
自分のラボで遠慮とかねえよ。
それもそうか。さすがにこの状況でクリスを呼び出すことはできなさそうだな。
I followed Mayuri to the lab and tried to relax my legs by sitting on the couch. But I didn't feel relaxed at all. It felt like my skin was crawling. I glanced over at Yuki.
ゆきさん、そのお洋服かわいい。
Oh! I don't know why, but Mary got twice as cute when she doesn't have her hat on.
なゆりちゃんにそう言ってほしくて着てきたんだよ。いいなぁ。まゆしんも着てみたいのです。後でお洋服取り替えっこしてみる？サイズ合うかな？
I'd heard about Yuki's future from Suzuha too. Oh? I still couldn't believe someone this pretty was going to marry Daru. Alright, fuck, okay. Okay, I'm gonna save right here. Because I'm gonna say yes to Amadeus' call right here. I'm picking up her call. I'm picking up her call right here. Let's do it! Let's do it! Let's do it! Connect!
なんだ。
そろそろラボに着いた頃かと思って。
I ran into the development room in the back. clutching my smartphone.
お前結構暇なんだな。
どうして声を潜める？もしかして私のことをお友達には知られたくないとか？
当たり前だろ。
I hadn't even checked with Maho and Dr. Leskinen to see if it was okay to tell other people about Amadeus. Alright, that was way too fast of a line. Let me reread that slowly. I hadn't even checked with Maho and Dr. Leskinen to see if it was okay to tell other people about Amadeus.
まあいいわ。状況はなんとなく理解した。
Kursu lowered her voice as well.
少しでいいから部屋の中を見せて。カメラを掲げてくれるだけでいい。
まったく。
I sighed and held the smartphone up to my chest. I spun around once, like I was taking a video with my camera.
汚すぎ。
最初の感想がそれか。
ごめん、言い直す。ガラクタだらけね。
That wasn't much better. Well, it was true.
研究室というのはどこも雑然となるものだけど、それにしてもこれはひどい。真帆先輩の下宿先といい勝負ね。
そういう個人のプライバシーを暴露してもいいのか？
あんたからも先輩に言っておいて、部屋はちゃんと片付けた方がいいって。
そんなこと言ったら噛みつかれそうだ。
まあ、でも。
Kursu paused and smiled.
こういうルームシェアみたいなの少し憧れてた。人が集まってるところを見ると居心地はいいんでしょうね。
クリス。
Yeah, Kursu. In the Alpha World line, you said the same thing.
お前は本当は？
おじさん、誰と話してるの？
Oh my god, I forgot Suzuha was in there! I forgot Suzuha was in there. I mean, I haven't played this game in a week, so I kind of forgot a little bit. But how did I forget something as important as Suzuha hiding in that room from her mother? Oh my god! I suddenly heard a girl's voice from under the desk, and was so surprised I screamed.
誰だ？
黙って。
お前、スザ？
Was she hiding? But why? Daru, Mayuri, and Yuki heard me scream, and ran over to see what the problem was.
オカリン、どうしたの？
Daru in the position of fuck!
あれ？そこにいるの、鈴葉さん？あっちゃー。
Suzuha looked upset. It was only then I realized who she was hiding from.
次のニュースです。明和党の駒沢康和衆議院議員が企業から不正献金を受けていた問題で、駒沢議員は今日10時から記者会見し、議員辞職する意向を表明しました。
Is that supposed to be important to the storyline? Wait, should I keep that in mind? Yasukazu Komazawa? Yasukazu Komazawa. Okay, I'm gonna remember that name just in case. Yeah. Okay, this is definitely someone I'm definitely gonna have to keep in mind. This guy, he might be involved because, remember, Steins hit 0 is a lot bigger game than the initial, beginning game of Steins Gate. So, yeah, there's gonna be a lot more characters, and not every character was shown in the anime. And this Yasukazu guy, he might be one of the people who did not show, Yasukazu. Someone had left the TV on, and it was playing the afternoon news. Suzuha knew no one was watching it, but she used the remote to turn the volume up anyway. She wanted to keep the girls in the shower room from hearing us. I could hear Mayuri and Yuki laughing from the shower. Things had gotten really awkward when Yuki had found Suzuha, but Mayuri quickly came up with a plan. At first, her plan was for the three of them, including Suzuha, to shower naked together, and hopefully get Yuki and Suzuha more comfortable around each other. But Suzuha said that the shower room was too small for 3 people and refused.
参ったな。
Suzuha was staring up at the ceiling.
鈴葉のせいじゃないよ。オカリンが悪いんだ。
ダルが事前に教えてくれなかったからだろ。
教えるタイミングなんてなかったじゃん。つうかオカリンさ、スマホ片手にブツブツ喋ってたけど何してたん？
それはその
誰かと話してたよね。
そういうアプリがあって試しに使ってみたんだ。
おお、ギャルゲっぽいやつ。オカリンもそういうのやるようになったのか。そういうことなら後で僕のおすすめアプリ教えるよ。
I guess I managed to fool them about Amadeus.
何にせよ、私がうかつだったよ。おじさん、さっきは驚かせてごめん。
そもそも彼女から隠れる必要があるのか？すでにダルの妹で通っているんだからコソコソする方が逆に怪しまれるだろう。
Suzuha had tried to avoid Yuki to begin with. Just meeting her father was enough to potentially cause a time paradox, she said. And that chance went up even more if she met her mother. But Yuki had found her before long, and Suzuha had been forced to say she was Daru's little sister. Yuki believed it, so why make things any more complicated?
そうなんだけど、母さんが思った以上に私と仲良くなりたがるんだ。あまり会話しすぎるとボロが出かねない。
自分とよく似てる人間が現れたら嫌悪するか興味を示すかのどちらかだろうな。
And Yuki Amane was the latter.
嫌われた方がずっと楽だよ。
いっそ事実を打ち明けるわけにもいかないか。
Right now, only a few people Only a few people knew that Suzuha was a time traveler. Me, Daru, Mayuri, and Ferris. That was all. Wait, Ferris? Hold on. Ferris? Wait, why does Ferris know? Wait, how did Ferris know and why does she know? Wait, what? Right now, only a few people knew that Suzuha was a time traveler. Me, Daru, Mayuri, and Ferris. Why Ferris? Can we get an explanation?
つうか、このまま何も説明しなくていいんじゃね？天音氏はなんつうか、秘密とか無理に聞きたがるような人じゃないと思うんだよね。鈴葉ならよくわかってるんじゃないか？
確かに未来の母さんはそんな人じゃなかったけど。
じゃあ大丈夫だって。いずれ時が来たら僕からちゃんと説明しとくよ。
本当？
ああ。
わかった。父さんに任せる。
Suzuha nodded.
で今後は天音氏を露骨に避けるのやめるっつうことで。
うまくやれるかどうか自信ない。
大丈夫だって。
お前が言うなって話だけどな。さっきだって相変わらず苦手意識出しまくってたじゃないか、お前。
僕のことは今はどうでもいいっしょ。
And then the conversation came to a halt, which meant we started thinking about the voices coming from the shower room.
つうわけで。
Daru opened his mouth. Perhaps he couldn't take it anymore.
ニコ生見てもいいかな。ブラチューの生特番があるんだ。
Nico live streaming. Bloodtune. What is... Okay, I'm gonna read Nico live streaming first. Nico live streaming, fictional. A live streaming service offered by the major streaming site, Nico Nia Video. Nico. Nico Nia. Bloodtune. Fictional. An anime called Bloodtune, the animation. Originally a manga, it was animated last year. The show drew a lot of attention from anime fans, and the main heroine, Sarah Orgel, became popular enough to have made figures. Bloodtune. Is this a reference to, Blood Sea? Yeah, I don't know what Bloodtune might be a reference to, so, yeah. Let's get back to the game.
不許可って言っても主張するんでしょ。じゃあどうぞ。
Suzaha sighed, and Daru sat in front of the PC and put his headphones on.
何？おじさん。
いや、仲のいい親子だと思ってさ。
そうかな。
ああ、未来でもなるはこんな感じだったんだろ。
もっと痩せててかっこよかったけどね。
想像もつかないな。
And the conversation died again. There were a ton of things I needed to talk to Suzaha about. But that was why I couldn't say a word. Maybe it was the same for her. Since there was nothing else to do, Suzaha and I turned back to the TV. The news was still on.
今日、東京銀座でフランスのファッションブランド、ル・パラディのオープニングイベントが行われました。
As newscaster spoke, I could see over 100 women lined up in front of a store.
平和だね。私が物心ついた頃には、すでにこんな光景は存在しなかった。
On the TV, a girl in a pretty outfit was talking to an interviewer.
羨ましいな。彼女たちは誰も殺さなくていいし、誰にも殺されないんだね。私が育った時代はさ、相手が男だろうと女だろうと、容赦なく殺さなきゃいけなかったんだ。次の瞬間には自分の命が終わるかもしれない。そんな恐怖が寝ても覚めてもつきまとってた。恐怖を忘れるためには狂気に身を任せて自分が殺す側に回るしかなかったよ。
That was war. That was Suzaha's life. I'd been to many nightmarish world lines, but none of them were that bad.
父さんたちはタイムマシンのことで反政府組織とみなされてね。
Daru had made the time machine that brought Suzaha here. It was far more powerful than the one that existed in the Alpha World Line.
私も軍から離脱して 父さんたちに加わったから警察や治安部隊に追われることになった。それからはもっともっとひどい戦闘が何度もあったよ。正義のための戦いなんて綺麗な言葉は使いたくない。たくさん殺したし、友達や仲間も大勢殺された。その中には私の母さんもいた。
Daru was still staring at the computer screen, but I could see him twitch. He must have been listening to Suzuha while he pretended to look at the screen.
軍の無人機から私を守ろうとして機銃掃射で死んだよ。
This was the first time I heard how Yuki Amane died. She was in the next room right now, having fun in the shower. And that was how she was going to die?
この目でズタズタにされていく母さんを見た。この全身で母さんの生温かい血を浴びた。
Maybe the reason Suzuha didn't want to talk to her mother in 2010 was that she didn't want her asking about the future. There was no way Suzuha could tell her that.
ねえ、おかりおじさん。
At some point, Suzuha's eyes had started to overflow with tears.
この世界線の行き着く先は地獄しかないんだ。今すぐじゃなくていい。時間切れにはまだ少しだけ時間があると思う。だからもう一度だけその考えてお願い。
Okabe, get in the goddamn time machine! Stop pulling a Shinji Ikari on Suzuha!
お願いだよ。
俺は
I knew it. In my mind, I knew it. The right thing to do was to do as she asked. But
死にたくないよ。
the sensation I felt when the knife slipped into her flesh, and I took the life of the girl I loved. It went from my hand to my arm and then to the rest of my body. I started shaking. My vision blurred, then almost went black. My hands went to my mouth. There was a wave of pain, like my stomach was turning inside out.
おじさん、
大丈夫か、オカリン。
悪い。
Suzuha poured me a cup of water, and I gulped it down.
ごめん。こんなことまだ話すんじゃなかった。
いや、大したことない。大丈夫だ。
I sank into the sofa, tried to calm down.
鈴葉の言いたいことも気持ちもよくわかるんだけど、俺は何度も世界線を漂流してきた。こことは違う世界線でタイムマシンに運命を翻弄される人たちを見てきた。
I looked straight into Suzuha's eyes.
お前の非業の結末さえ見てきた。俺自身もそれに巻き込まれて何もかも無力だってことを知った。
humanity was powerless before the laws of this world.
タイムマシンを使って世界線を改変するのはこの宇宙の仕組みから逸脱することだ。俺たち人間が手を出していい領域じゃない。いわば神の領分なんだ。それに触れれば俺たちはもっともっと残酷な罰を受けることになる。俺はそう思う。
それがオカリンおじさんの答えなの？
少なくとも今はな。
そう。
ただの逃げだとなじってくれてもいい。
そんなことしないよ。
Suza looked up at the ceiling and sighed. That must have been a habit she picked up lately.
続いてのニュースです。
Here we go.
厚生労働省はアメリカで猛威を振るっている新型の脳炎ウイルスについて今のところ日本国内での発症例は報告されていないと発表しました。
What's that? Encephalosis is the inflammation of the brain. There are several causes, but the most common is a viral infection. Encephalosis often causes only mild flu-like signs and symptoms, such as fever or headache, or no symptoms at all. Symptoms: epileptic seizure, fever, or headache.
ただ、この新型脳炎は潜伏期間が長いことから、すでに国内に上陸している可能性も否定できないとして、
This is actually a very, timely, thing to be talking about. Very timely.
感染症法に基づき、全国の医療機関に対して新型脳炎対策と感染症発生動向の速やかな調査を指示しました。ここからはお茶の水医科大学の春山壮子教授にお話を伺います。春山さん、この新型の脳炎というのは具体的にはどのような症状が出るものなのでしょうか？
新型脳炎は感染力は弱いのですが、潜伏期間が長く突然発症します。症状としては幻覚や記憶障害が主ですね。
Fubuki has it!
例えば、そうですね。会社で仕事をしていたはずなのに気がつくと家にいたりですとか、会ったこともない人に会った記憶があるというような症例が報告されています。
Oh my god, Okay. Oh my god, the causes of Okabe's time excursions. This is like this is an effect of that cause he did. The cause, he messed with time. The effect, reading Steiner and multiple people, causing an epidemic of I don't even know. However that word's pronounced. But it's causing that epidemic.
あとは実際には発生していない事件が起こった覚えがあるなどといった記憶の混乱も現れているようです。夢と現実の区別ができなくなったり、時間感覚を失ったり、周りの人と記憶が一致しなくなるので錯乱状態に陥ったり、いわゆる寝ぼけているような状態、デジャブのようなものと言えますが、もっと症状がはっきりしています。
Deja vu. I think I've been in this place before. Deja vu. The name of a strange sensation in which you feel that you've been through a situation before. Even if you know that you can't possibly have done so, the sensation is strong and realistic enough that it cannot simply be attributed to forgetfulness or imagination. But since you can't remember when or where you experienced it before, it creates a strong feeling of unease. The cause of the sensation is still unknown. One theory says it is the result of an extremely rare but temporary disjunction between the parts of the brain that govern recall and memory. Another theory says that it's the result of a temporary spasm of the hippocampal gyrus. Deja vu. It feels like I've been in this place before.
治療法についてはいかがでしょう。
他の農園と違いまして、適切な治療を受ければ比較的速やかに完治することが分かっています。ですので、もし国内で感染者が出たとしても、それほど恐れることはないと思いますよ。
The reporter was still talking, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. The information I just heard was that shocking. A new kind of encephalitis. How do you pronounce this? How do you pronounce it? Encephalitis. A new kind of encephalitis? I knew the symptoms she was describing. Losing the ability to discriminate between dreams and reality. Losing your sense of the passage of time. Your memories no longer match those of the people around you. That was exactly the same as reading Steiner. Like I just said, that's what reading Steiner does. And we're in the point of view of Suzuha. 1975, August 13th, 1:05 p.m. Oh, this is right after they went. Oh, that's after they left 2036. Oh. The interior of the time machine smelled like a... The interior of the time machine smelled like metal and was covered in instruments of different sizes. The girl inside was sobbing. It had been almost an hour since Suzuha had left to go look around. She had assumed that Kagari would have stopped crying by then, but she'd had no such luck.
いつまで泣いてるつもりだ。しっかりしなきゃダメだ。まゆ姉さんの気持ちを考えろ。
Kagari Shina looked up at Suzuha, her face wet with tears.
だから泣くんじゃない。鬱陶しい。
Suzuha walked over to Kagari and knelt down, so they'd be at eye level. She had no intention of spoiling her. Her goal was to save billions of lives, and this was her first mission.
いいか、これからはカガリもワルキューレの一員とみなす。私の部下として扱う。非戦闘員じゃないからな。
Valkyrie. What is Valkyrie? Valkyrie. That's how you pronounce it, right? Valkyrie?
Valkyrie.
Okay, I got that correct. Wait, I was correct about Valkyrie. All right, I'm happy now. Demi-goddesses from Norse mythology. There are many Valkyries, and at least several dozen are given names. They choose who will die on the battlefield and who will be victorious, and they take the souls of those who fought bravely to Valhalla to prepare for the coming Ragnarok. Skuld, one of the three Norns and the goddess of the future, is a Valkyrie. Skuld. Operation Skuld! Oh my god!
ここは1975年だ。知ってる人間は誰もいない。父さんもまゆ姉さんも出生してない。つまり、誰も守ってくれないんだ。自分の身を守るのは自分だけだと思え。いいな。
Kagari was a brave girl, and she finally realized that now wasn't the time for tears. She tried to stop crying. It wasn't working well, but it was a lot better for her emotions than sobbing. She was a smart girl. Suzuha knew that.
あまり時間がない。この時代の人間にタイムマシンが見つかったら大騒ぎだ。
The machine had landed on the roof of the radio building, which wasn't a spot that people visited often. The chances of anyone finding it were slim. But in this era, they had no one to help them conceal it. That meant they couldn't stay long. She needed to finish her mission quickly and move to the next time period.
何か失敗したらまたタイムマシンで時間を戻ればいいんじゃないの？燃料の問題があるんだ。ジャンプできる回数は無限じゃない。肝心の場面で動作しなかったら話にならない。そうなんだ。立てるか？
Suza stepped out of the machine and beckoned to Kagari. Kagari looked surprised. Her eyes were narrowed at the bright sunlight. The sky above Tokyo in this time period was too dirty to be called blue. Smoke and dust clouds filled with who knew what were rising from the rows of smokestacks. It all combined with black exhaust from the cars that scurried along the road to create a smog so thick you could literally see it. The sky above the city was covered by a veil of death. But still, it was the first clear sky that Kagari had ever seen. She'd only ever known from books and videos that the sky could be this bright. The nuclear weapons used during the Third World War had changed the weather over Tokyo, and their sky was constantly covered in dull gray clouds. The sun's light was always weak when it shone through them, and it was never this bright.
私が子供の頃はまだこんな感じの空だった。少しだけど覚えてるよ。
Suza looked up at the sky too.
空気が美味しい。
In 2036, you needed a filter and a mask to go outside for any length of time. Compared to that, 1975 was a lot cleaner. Oh fuck, it's only 16 years. 16 more years until we have to do that. If you can't wear a mask now, well, you're not gonna like 2036.
わかるだろ、かがり。父さんたちがどうして世界線の改変に全てをかけていたのか。世界線がどうとか、歴史がどうとか、そんな理屈は後でいい。今はただ、この空の色を守りたいと思えば。
You know, this might be a little bit weird to say this early on, but Suza is definitely a good sisterly character to Kagari. From what I'm seeing right here, she seems to be actually really good at, talking with Kagari. From first impression, this is all first impressions, and I might be wrong, but I'm hoping I'm not wrong. I'm hoping I'm not wrong. Kagari slipped her hand into her pocket and took out the faded green Upa keychain. She stared at it with a sad look on her face. She was probably thinking about Mayuri, her mother, and she was probably trying to understand what it meant that her mother had put her inside the time machine. Suza decided that Kagari was alright now, and closed the hatch on the time machine from the outside. The lock flipped on automatically. The only person who could open it now was Suzaha, whose biometrics had been loaded... Biometrics had been loaded into the system? What? Whose biometrics had been loaded into the system ahead of time. Even if someone did find the machine, it would be a while before they found out what it was.
かがり、これを見ろ。
Suza handed her a print. Suza handed her a printout of a photo. IBN.
これ何？ IBN5100 っていうレトロ PC だ。
IBN 5100. What is an IBN 5100? The fictional and non-fictional. IBN's first portable computer, which went on sale in 1975. The design includes an integrated monitor and a keyboard, and while it is described as portable, it weighs almost 25 kg. In the 2000s, John Titor revealed that there was a special computer language that could only be used on devices of this type, which was not described in the manual. IBM developers would later admit that he was correct, which that is true. The real-life IBM 5100, that was very true. It does have a secret programming language.
私たちの時代に存在していたものはどれも満足に動かない。けど、この時代なら感動品が入手できる。これを手分けして探すのが私とお前の最初のミッションだ。連絡はこれで。
She handed Kaguri a small transceiver.
通信できる距離はかなり短いらしいから気休め程度だと思え。オーキードーキー。
Okie dokie.
90分ごとにこのビルの前に集合。状況を確認。それを繰り返す。いいな。オーキードーキー。いい返事だ。
Suzuha nodded and patted Kaguri on the head.
よし、ミッション開始。
Suzuha was on the top of the radio building in 2010, looking down.
35年か。
What? That's how long ago it had been in real time since she'd spoken to Kaguri here. From her perspective, it had only been a few months. The view from up here had changed a lot since then, and in the next 26 years, it would change even more. She'd seen for herself how this building changed over a span of 61 years. The thought didn't make her feel sentimental. Instead, she felt the loneliness and fear that comes from having a past not shared with anyone else. Using the time machine to change the world line means breaking the rules of the universe. Rintaro Okabe's words flashed through her mind. Still, lately, she'd been thinking more about Kaguri. She'd been searching the city at regular intervals. She was looking for Kaguri Shina. She didn't even know she was in Tokyo. She had no clues. She didn't even know what Kaguri looked like now. So maybe it was a waste of time. Even so, she had to find Kaguri herself. But she hadn't had any better luck today. She turned around and looked toward the time machine. She would come here every day. Her primary reason for coming was to see if her father, Itaro Hashida, had been here. Anytime she let her guard down, he would come to try and examine it. She told him it would cause a time paradox, but he didn't listen. She needed to keep constant watch. To be honest, she had a lot of things she had to do. And then, she heard the metal door to the roof open. Was it her dad? She squinted into the darkness, but the person she saw was much smaller than Itaru, and had cat ears coming out of their head. What? Ferris! Okay, let's see why Ferris knows about Suzuha. Okay, we're about to figure out why Suzuha knows. Why Suzuha knows about Suzuha. Ferris knows about Suzuha. Aww.
にゃにゃ、いたいた。すずにゃん、こんばんはだにゃん。なんだ、ルミ姉さんか。
Ferris Nyan had a spring in her step as she approached Suzuha.
ルミ姉さんって誰のことかにゃ。フェイリスはフェイリスにゃ。ルミ姉さんはルミ姉さんだよ。
Ferris's real name was Rumiho Akiya. She was Naru's friend, and had helped him in many different ways in 2036. So Suzuha had known her ever since she was very young, and had always called her big sis Rumi. For whatever reason, in this era, She always wanted to be called Ferris, though. When Suzuha asked why, she simply responded, "Ferris is Ferris, Nia!" An answer which meant nothing to Suzuha.
ラボに誰もいなかったからこっちかなと思ったら正解だったにゃはい差し入れ余り物で悪いんやけど
Ferris showed her a cake box with the logo from the maid cafe where she worked, Maid Queen 9 Square.
父さんがラボに不在でよかったよ
If he ate something like that at this hour, he'd get even fatter.
ダルニャンじゃなくてスズニャンへの差し入れにゃ私になんでにゃふふ好きなくせに
Ferris grinned and nudged Suzuha in the side with her elbow.
私は別にアップルタルトにモンブランあとイチゴのショートケーキもあるにゃほーらおいしそうだにゃ
Ferris opened up the box and showed her what was inside. Suzuha could smell the sweet cream and fruit.
さあ今すぐおいしく食べるといいにゃ心置きなく食べるといいにゃほらあんしてそのかわいいお口に食べさせてあげるにゃん
Your cute little meow.
で冷蔵庫にしまって明日食べるすずにゃんはストイックにゃ
Ferris laughed and handed over the box.
賞味期限は明日だから明日中に食べなきゃダメにゃぞありがとうどういたしまして
You're welcome. God. Okay, whoever translated this game, you had a lot of fucking fun. Ferris gave her a mischievous wink and looked up at the time machine beside them.
ダルニャンのタイムマシン研究の方はどうかにゃ頑張ってはいるみたいルミ姉さんこのマシンまだここに置いておいても
Suzuha looked around the roof as she asked. It wasn't solely thanks to Ferris that no one had really noticed the massive object. Let me repeat that. It was solely thanks to Ferris that no one had really noticed the massive object on the roof. She was the heir to a rich family that had a lot of influence in this area and had contributed to a lot of the development of Akihabara. She was helping to hide the time machine.
このフロアというか屋上はフェイリスが借り上げちゃったから平気にゃオーナーさんには体感ゲームの研究をしてるって言ってあるにゃちょっと苦しい言い訳にゃけど助かるよ気にしないでいいにゃこの世界のエレメンタルをバー薬兵たちの魔の手から救うためならフェイリスはいつでも協力するにゃ
Elementals and Bayake. What is Elementals and Bayake? Let's do four elementals first. The four spirits who control the elements of earth, water, fire, and air. With the fifth one being... Never mind, I can't make a joke for a show I never watched. I'm gonna watch Avatar sometime. I'm gonna watch it sometime, but I haven't yet. Their existence was first proposed by the Swiss alchemist Paracelsus in his book, The Book of Fairies. He described them as beings not dead, like ghosts but not alive, like humans, and as spiritual creatures of an extremely nebulous nature. Paracelsus struggled to explain exactly what they were, and in the end, decided to classify them as things. He divided them as follows. The element of earth is controlled by the Piagimes of the mountain, or the gnomes. The element of water is controlled by the nymphs of the water, or the undying. The element of fire is controlled by the salamanders of the fire, or the Vulcans. The element of air is controlled by the sylphs of the wind, or the Sylvivestris. Paracelsus' theory had a huge effect on alchemists and authors, both of his own and later generations, who filled in the gaps of his work. In the fantasy genre in particular, elementals have become a mainstay. Well, we gotta thank Paracelsus. Wait, Paracelsus was Swiss. Yeah, he was Swiss. Swiss. Thank you, Switzerland. Bayaki. Winged interstellar creatures that appear in the Cthulhu mythos. Oh, Cthulhu. They were created by August Derleth, the co-creator of the Cthulhu mythos, along with H.P. Lovecraft, and appear in such stories as the House on Kerwin Street. They are described as chimera-like creatures around 3 meters tall, with the wings of a pterosaur, the legs of an eagle, and a tail like a bee's. Despite their terrifying appearance, they understand human speech, and if they feel it's in their best interests, they can even work together with humans. In space, they usually travel at around 1/10 of light speed, but an organ called the Hune, and their tail allows them to fly faster than the speed of light. The Bayaki are supposedly the servants of Astur, the god of shepherds, a creation of Ambrose Bierce, the author of the famous Devil's Dictionary. There is a lot of occult in this. A lot of occult.
そう。昔から、いや、今からしたら未来か。思ってたんだけどさ、ルミ姉さんの話って、時々すごく難しくなるんだよね。一体何語？
チュリバよ。
考えるんじゃない。感じるのにゃ。いいや。寒いにゃ。フェイリスはお家に帰ろうかにゃ。
In the end, she never could get an answer. To Suzuha, Ferris was always a great mystery.
送っていくよ。一緒に出よう。にゃ。それじゃあついでにうちでご飯も食べてくといいにゃ。そういうつもりで言ったわけじゃないんだけど。どうせ普段大したもの食べてないにゃ。スズニャンのストイックさを見てると、フェイリスがなんとかしてあげにゃきゃーって思っちゃうにゃ。
I love her mouth. I really love her. Oh my god, why did I say that? I regret my life.
保護欲？母性？とにかくそういうのがかきたてられるのにゃ。私は大丈夫だから。
Before she finished her sentence, she felt someone looking at her. She glanced around.
にゃ？どうしたのにゃ？
Luskinen? I'm sorry. I'm just so used to making Luskinen jokes that now it's just like ingrained in my mind that whoever's looking at Suzuha has to be Luskinen. The Luskinen memes have ruined this game for me. She listened carefully. She definitely heard a very faint sound from the direction of the metal door that led to the stairs. It was small enough that Suzuha was only able to notice it because of her training.
誰かいる？にゃにゃ。多分話を聞かれた。
Most of the discussion was worthless, but they talked about the time machine a little. Someone heard that. Suzuha yanked her gun out of her jacket, and in an instant ran towards the stairs as fast as she could. She heard someone running down the stairs as soon as she did. The sound, heavy military boots in a wide stride, got farther and farther away.
早い。
She opened up the door and jumped onto the landing. Then she raced down the stairs, skipping 3 steps with every stride. But still, it wasn't fast enough. Suzuha was born fast, and she'd been trained to be faster, but it wasn't enough. When she finally made it to the second floor, she could hear the loud revving of a motorcycle. She panicked and slipped on an object that had been left halfway up the stairs, then rolled her way to the bottom. She managed to get into the right position and protect her head, so it was her hips that struck the ground. She forced herself to stand up and run outside. Whoa. She could see the taillights of a large motorcycle speeding away. The driver was wearing a black helmet and riding suit, and already a good distance away, so she couldn't even tell if they were a man or a woman. They revved their engine loudly, as if to mock her, and then spun a corner and disappeared onto Center Street. A little later, Ferris caught up.
大丈夫かにゃ？逃げられた。それ、しまった方がいいにゃ。あ。
She put the gun in her hands back into her jacket holster. One more time. She put the gun in her hands back in her jacket holster and brushed away the hair that sweat had stuck to her brow.
今の誰にゃ？わからない。けど、一般人じゃない。訓練されてる。と思う。訓練？階段に何か落ちてなかった？バグが転がってたにゃ。ちょうど死角になる位置だった。多分わざと落としたんだよ。しかも、私がそこを通るタイミングでエンジンを空ぶかしした。見事に引っかかったよ。トラップってことかにゃ。ああいうことがとっさにできるっていうのは特殊な訓練を受けてるからだ。じゃなきゃ無理。
Suzuha glared in the direction the bike disappeared and started to think. Who was it, CERN? There was an unofficial CERN group, the Rounders, that were searching for IBN 5100s in Akihabara. Rentaro Okabe had told her that. But he'd only encountered them in another world mine.
誰かはわからないけど、私たちの他にタイムマシンのことを知ってる奴がいるのは間違いない。
Was it that they knew about it, but weren't going to do anything more? Or did they intend to steal the time machine from her? Since she didn't know, she had to assume the worst, or she wouldn't be prepared to deal with it. She looked up to the sky and sighed. It was becoming a bad habit.
ねえ、ルミ姉さん。このことは、オカリンおじさんには内密にしておいて。なんで？今のオカリンおじさんが知ったら、タイムマシンを破壊しろって言いかねない。危険だからって。でしょ？そうにゃけど。私は絶対にマシンを守るよ。シュタインズゲートの入り口へオカリンおじさんを連れて行かなきゃいけないんだから。それが未来の父さんとの、私をここに送り出してくれた人たちみんなとの約束だからさ。すずにゃ。わかったにゃ。その代わりダルニャにだけはちゃんと話しておくこと。オキドキ。
That's probably the most important person to tell, Daru. Because Daru does the most shit for the Future Catching Laboratory and for Okabe in general. Like, Daru, he does the most crap in this series. That's my opinion. I'm standing by it. Daru does the most shit in this series, and he deserves all the happiness because he does the most. In the Steins Gate series, he does the most, and he is undoubtedly my favorite character in the series. Moving on. The last part was almost a whisper as her words melted into Akihabara sky. Maho. We're gonna have to save Maho for next time, everyone. Okay, yes, we're gonna save Maho for next time. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to save Maho for next time because that is all I have for today. So thank you everybody for watching this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Daru is best boy. Daru is best boy. And the best character in Steins Gate. I stand by my opinion. I stand by it to this very day. I'll stand by my opinion. Daru is best boy in Steins Gate, and none of you can prove me wrong. None of you can prove me wrong. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Daru is best boy, and I'll see you all next time. I'll see you all next time. Okay.
OK OK